Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing all the happenings in our country, especially as a result of the cash crunch that Nigerians are experiencing. Yesterday, we heard about 10 banks were raised in Ogun State. And I also heard that the Ikeja disco office was also set ablaze. These are some of the things that happened where many were arrested. The police did confirm that arrests were made, investigations were ongoing to see if they can get more of the perpetrators. But the question, therefore, is why are we destroying banks? Why are we causing so much of these mayhem going on across the country? How can the banks, what can the banks do to reduce this amongst the people? Some had said that orderliness is one of the things that, for whatever reason, we don't imbibe in this part of the world. So yes, you're expecting a crowd, something as basic as putting chairs outside, getting a canopy, getting water for people to come in. As they come in, explaining to them. I saw a few videos where some bank managers came out to try to explain and appeal to the people, and they held back. Sometimes when you don't see anything and they just close up the doors and shut the doors, people get angry. So are there ways we can better communicate to people? Or are these people just not listening, ready to listen to anybody and just raising down buildings? What are your thoughts? How can we do this better? The government has their own fault where they're not providing enough funds for people to get. At the same time, could the banks have prepared better for the crowd that are coming? Or how can the local government, the community leaders, what can they do to talk to people to restrain themselves from destroying public property? That's our conversation again this morning. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourView TVC so we can read your tweets. So all waiting for the Supreme Court judgment tomorrow based on what was the fact that all these governors sued the federal government for what we're going through right now, the cash crunch, and the fact that they're not upholding the Supreme Court judgment. However, as we're waiting, people are destroying property. What do you think? How can we stop them? We know the fault of the government already. Well, how are we making things worse? Or is there a way, or is it expected? Or how can we are prepared for it better?
You said 10 banks, right?
That is from the police
report.
One
state has lost 10 banks.
Yes.
10 huge infrastructure.
Yeah.
And if that state needs to start rebuilding, so let's take it, for instance, that the state owns part of the banks and maybe individuals owned that business and they have to start rebuilding, we should know how much they would take. If it has to come from the state, for instance, that is depleting an account where we don't even have enough money that is meant to be for the good of the people, just to build the infrastructures that we have lost because we are angry. I think our people need to start thinking beyond themselves. You wouldn't say because you have not eaten, your parents did not give you food, you now start setting fire to raise down the house. Yeah. Because when you raise down the house, you're going to definitely sleep outside or sleep in the bush. You have damaged something in the heat of your anger. We need to move past ourselves. We need to move past the fact that we're not able to have access to what we need. We understand everybody. In fact, yesterday, I was dragging 4,000 Naira with my husband. And so we change wallet up and down. He said, don't touch, why are you touching my wallet now? I only have 3,000 Naira inside the wallet. Why do you want to take everything? I said, your wallet is my wallet. Don't even go there. We're dragging because there's no soup in my house. There's nothing in my house. I needed to send my sister to the market to help me get some things. And she said even if she can make transfer to some of the vendors, she will need to pay a labaro that will carry some of those things. So she needs a form of cash. And so so it's affecting everybody right now. But we'll not say because we are being affected, even when the government is making promises that they would send us back the 200 Naira, we're still waiting, they will do this, they will do that, to now begin to destroy properties, which will in turn affect us. So if we close all the banks, for instance, in Ogun State now, and they now want to load the ATMs, there's no ATM to load, how do we get our money? So this we have created more problems for ourselves.
This is what the obas, the kings, the local governments, the councillors should be communicating to the people. I'm told now that with the banks raised in Shagamu, people in Shagamu will have to go to Okene or Ijebu or Abeokuta to bank.
Imagine.
So you're living in Shagamu now. They've raised down most of your banks. You're now having to travel all the way to Okene or to Ijebu just to use the ATM. Worse? So who is affected? Is it the MD of the bank that you bought that is affected? I don't understand why.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And it is true that the banks are affected, but I want us to look at it from another perspective. There is this mechanic, my friend's mechanic. His wife died because he couldn't get Naira to take to the hospital, and the hospital, the transfers weren't going, the whatever were not going, and then the wife died. His neighbor, the same mechanic, his neighbor, the child died. So now, look at those two people. The despair that they will feel is they will not be able to think beyond.
Rationally.
Because of you, my child, you, this bank. Now, remember, CBN caused this problem by putting all the banks.
Saying that
They are the ones hiding the money. The banks are hiding the money. So people now feel. So people are now against the banks, thinking it's the banks that... No, actually, there's money, but they're hiding it. They want to give one politician or the other. So people have this adverse feeling.
The root cause of this.
Yes. So the root cause is what CBN gave us as their reason for... Okay,
so CBN should therefore take responsibility for this destruction.
Because now that there is no money, it's not... CBN, they are not bringing any video that the banks have money. They're not bringing out any video again. But they have caused that problem by putting out those videos, and people now think it's the banks. People, staff are beaten.
Yeah.
It's
having
not fair.
to jump off the fence, over the fence, just
over
to
the
escape.
fence. Can you imagine? Then you have your... I've been trying to make a transfer since Sunday. Today is Tuesday. I have not been able to make the transfer.
I haven't been, now that we are talking about the bank, so we might as well just mention this. GT Bank has been really, really stressful. I don't know what's going on with GT Bank, but a few other banks have been able to... Only one bank for me is working. The other ones are not even working at all. But I think because all of us, everybody has a GT Bank account. Everybody. So it's for some reason they need help because their systems are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And somehow they need extra reinforcement to help to ensure they can get more capacity of people, because right now we're all even migrating to transfer online, and it's really overwhelming. Every transaction I try to do online on that bank doesn't go through.
So, it's the same. It's the same. I've been trying that GT Bank. I have not been able to make... How much do I want to transfer? 30,000.
That you're hanging since.
I've been hanging since. So the person is now thinking I want to chop their money, and I don't want to chop their money.
I'll come to you. Well, I'm told that the Commissioner of Police in Ogun State will be on shortly. I think it's on already, so we can even get an update on how many arrests have been made and what they're doing to sensitize the public on the aggression that happened yesterday. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Hello, sir. Are you there?
Yeah,
Mr. Frankenbauer, good to have you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I guess I'm speaking to Mariah.
Yes, you are. Could you give us an update on what happened yesterday with the banks that were raised by hoodlums in that community? What happened exactly? Could you give us an idea what happened and how many people have been arrested so far?
Mariah, I'm actually on the field. We are carrying out a mop-up operation right now. So I'm actually not, I won't be able to speak long on this phone.
Okay.
But what I can assure you is the fact that we are putting everything in place to ensure that we track down the perpetrators of this crime. As at yesterday, 30 of them were arrested. They are currently being profiled and investigated at the State CID at Abeokuta. Between 6 p.m. last night and this morning, we've also made additional arrests. We are following up on some of the information we've extracted from the suspects. Some of the items that were looted from those banking halls, we've also traced and tracked them. We've recovered some of them. We have also made additional arrests. The governor is also joining us here this morning to also have a first-hand assessment of the situation. And so I will plead that you let us continue our operation, and then we speak to you subsequently.
Okay, so what's the situation of the terrain now? Is there been any form of calm brought to the area?
Absolutely. The situation is calm now. People are beginning to go about their normal duties. The other parts of Ogun State, from Ijebu-Ode to Abeokuta to all other parts of the town, other parts of the state are also calm. What happened here for me is an isolated case of organized crime. It is not just a process. This is criminality at its peak. And will we do everything possible to ensure that we make a strong statement using the instrumentality of the law to ensure that this culture is put to an end?
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me let you go because I know you're working right now and you have to. We'll get feedback from you maybe tomorrow or day after to at least be sure that it's calm restored.
Thank you, Mariah, and have a great day.
All right. So, hearing from him, I was going to ask, and I know he doesn't have time to speak for us a long time, but I was actually going to find out. You would think that after this happened in Edo, the police would have been on guard because there's no way Nigerians always have this kind of twin attacks. Once something happens here, everybody has things they can duplicate the same thing. Oh, Edo went, because Edo was really under fire a few days, I think it was last week.
You don't know where the next violence is going to
therefore, the bank should be reinforced. Somehow get reinforcement for the banks. Information, cameras, CCTVs must be
how many
functional.
policemen will I get?
Good question. That's what I was going to ask.
Okay, so you don't get, let's assume there's not enough policemen. But let's make sure your CCTV cameras work. Redirect them so that even if anybody's coming, we can quickly get a facial identification of
That's
who and
another
who.
form of resource, which they may not have planned.
Many of them already have CCTVs in their
Yes,
banks.
but they don't have enough, like you're saying now. Make sure you put it everywhere. See,
It was a Sunday now. Banks were closed.
Yes, so
never
see, the thing is, there is no excuse for violence.
Absolutely.
None at all, whatever the reason is. And I think we need to start building ourselves in such a way that we accept what is and re-engineer our minds to accept crisis. Crisis will always happen in whatever form. This is a form of crisis. And if you're not equipped to handle any form of crisis when it happens, that's why you're running to go and destroy things when things happen. This sort of thing happens in other countries where things are not working the way the citizens work. Do they just move out and start destroying things? It's a mindset. We're not a collective people. If you don't destroy the things, what do you fall back on tomorrow? So crisis will happen in whatever form. If it's ASWO that goes on strike, or NNPC goes on strike, or there's no field, things will happen from time to time. It's a country. It's evolving. In our homes, we have crisis. Do you now start destroying your house because your husband quarreled with you? We need to understand that these things will happen and then start seeking for solution. Okay, what do we do? What are they saying? How long do we wait? Start asking the right questions. Also, the people that destroy banks are not the ones that even have money in the banks. Morayo, you now, even if you have let's say you have one small 5 million somewhere, you will not stand up and go and be destroying the bank because you calculate in your head. What if these banks come back and say, because of the destruction we have, we're using customers' money to repair some things, we'll not be able to pay you. You will think that way. So the people that actually perpetrate this violence are those who have 1,500 Naira in the banks. And so we should be careful not to give them this, they are upset, they are angry to sort of, is it support what they are doing? There's no excuse for violence, and we need to stop it holistically. It's affecting all of us.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a few phone calls on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this cash crunch Nigerians are experiencing, and we're also waiting for the Supreme Court's judgment tomorrow to know exactly what the way forward is. Let's take a few messages before I bring in our guest.
Yeah, I wanted to. There is one here that says, these destructions, especially in Edo and Ogun, were politically sponsored. Now, I really wanted us to take it from that level. Do you think that it is true that the politicians are the ones sponsoring these attacks?
Of course, that's possible. You see, right now, in this season, everything is political.
Yeah.
Everybody must use everything to get to sway votes and to believe that, listen, the current, the APC administration, obviously, it has been the one that implemented this policy that is working against us. So everything, if you sneeze, is political. If you sit down, it's political. Everything you do right now is political. So if there's somebody that sees an opportunity to frustrate Nigerians to benefit their own party, they will take it. And that's what many people could do. So if you're a politician for maybe an underdog party, you feel like, oh, we must take over, or you feel that you're supposed to lose. You do everything. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's an opportunity. If I was somebody's campaign manager, I say, listen, this policy is for certain Nigerians. If we do this, maybe we're going to get to sway people against us. So we can't rule it out. We're not saying exactly that's what's happening, but it's possible. It is a possibility, and we must not rule it out.
If it is, I think they should get to the bottom of the politicians who are sponsoring it.
But unfortunately, that's why there's an investigation. But regardless of the investigation, people will say that nobody will ever mention any names.
Yeah, it never gets there.
Let me take a few calls. Okay, our guest is on. So we're going to be having Senator Ibrahim Yahaya Oloriegbe, who is representing the Kwara Central constituency, and he's going to be giving us an idea of the impact of this policy on his own local government. Good morning, sir. In your constituency, actually.
Good morning, Mariah.
Good to have you on the show. We've been trying to speak to lawmakers all week because we know you tried to speak to the CBN governor to retract this policy, and you're also responsible for your constituency. What has it been like since the implementation of this policy, and how are your people taking it in Kwara State?
Well, thank you very much. I'm speaking to you from Ilorin. I arrived in Ilorin on Sunday, and I'll be here till the election. And part of the things I'm doing is to find out the effect and how we can support our people. It's really been very challenging. And I will share about 3 experiences that are very sympathetic. One, while I was moving, I saw one shoemaker, and I saw him doing a work for somebody. I just stopped. And what he shared with me, the person, the woman said slipper got but she doesn't have money. The shoemaker now said, if you don't have money, just give me food, because I don't have food to eat. So don't need to give me money, because I don't have money, because I've not been having to see anybody that will give me money. But give me food, I will repair your shoe. And I asked that if you eat, what happens to people at home? He said, let me survive first. Maybe I will still see another person that will be able to give me money. This is as far as that goes. Secondly, that a market where they sell vegetables. I passed through the place yesterday, they call it Obo Road, around the afternoon. And I asked my driver to stop because I saw the women that are selling the vegetables, which they call a fork. It was around the afternoon, around 2 p.m., and I still saw that they had a lot on their counter. And I said, why are you having? Because usually that market is usually by morning, by 10 o'clock in the morning, they finish selling. But after 2 p.m., we still have, they say it's because of the cash crunch. The third thing I want to say is I found out what is happening with people that require to get money at all costs. They say they use POS. And they say POS charge up to 200 naira for 1,000 naira. These are some of the expenses that I see. And you see generally the market is dull. Many people have their wares, they could not sell it. So this is some of the things that...
So do you think there'll be voter... I mean, we had discussed yesterday, and we're saying that this might cause voter apathy. People might not just show up to vote because they can't even move around. How do you think this would affect voting on Saturday?
I think it will. And that's one of the reasons why I said I came home and I'm staying here to see how we can mobilize and ask people to come out to vote, irrespective of whatever the challenge. It will not be because of even money. People don't move with money on election day, but it's because of the apathy against the policy. That what are we voting for? What is government there for us? We can't get money to be able to transfer business. We can't sell our business. So am I going out to vote? So what we are doing now is get people to converse around, to tell them that it's important to come out to vote, because that is the best way to be able to put people that we put policies that will improve their lives. So, but definitely it will.
Okay,
we only have to work around it.
All right, Senator. Another fear is that some Nigerians are thinking that the initial money, that was released as the new notes have been hoarded by politicians who want to buy votes on that day. Do you envisage a lot of cash being spent to convince people to vote for this person on that day? And if it happens, is there anything to stop it from happening? Because people actually need cash.
One, that is not a fact. I'm a politician, and I swear by God, who I will meet when nobody will be there, that as a politician, such a thing is not happening. I myself, I'm only able to collect 20,000 from my bank. I have the account in 3 banks. While I was in Abuja, I have to write a check of 20,000. That's the only thing I get. For 2, we don't need money to be able for people to vote or to give money to people. I have contested elections several days. I won election in 2019. I'm not contesting that, but I'm mobilizing for people to vote. People will vote based on our credibility. So I don't agree that politicians hoard money. Two, I also don't see that money will play a major role, other than the fact that it is the credibility of the people that are stakeholders. Because what you do know about the election is that, one, people come out to vote in many places because of certain gatekeepers and stakeholders who they have trust in. Now, a lot of people make decisions based on those stakeholders. We have only very few people in Nigeria who are enlightened enough to make decisions on their own. All these, what happened on the Facebook media, or even on either the social media or even the traditional media, I must say, as a politician, as someone that has contested an election, particularly in my constituency, majority of people will come out to vote and vote for people based on certain gatekeepers, stakeholders who they trust, who they know that if we vote, when we want to ask for water, we want to ask for electricity, we want our children that are going to school to be supported. These are the people that we can go and meet, and that is what makes people to vote. So as such, it's not the money that will make people to vote. I'm not saying that, of course, there are needs for money for election, not for people to buy votes, but you have...
But people buy votes now.
Hello?
People buy votes. We have seen people buy votes.
There's no money.
I have participated in the election. I can tell you I didn't buy votes. What I use money for election is to pay agents. I don't know about that.
So,
because
Senator,
the 2019 election that I won, I don't see, money was not a factor. I mean, buying votes wasn't a factor for me to win the election.
Senator, we've seen many cases, even in court, where there were allegations of vote buying in different situations. So we understand it does exist. But obviously, with the fact that there's no cash, clearly there can't be any vote buying. People will vote, as you said, based on who they trust, who they believe in. So that is fine. That's what democracy is about. But our worry is logistics of people getting around. For example, those even going to carry the ballot boxes or the ballot papers around, do they have cash to go around? Has the CBN provided that? We don't even know. Those who are even...
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying, that will be affected. That's like, for example, we have rural areas.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I said, like in my constituency, I have 2 local governments that are mainly rural. And for people to vote, most of them live in villages where the polling booth will be like 5 kilometers or more from them. So usually, just like I said, the stakeholders and the gatekeepers will have to rent vehicles, buses, to transport people, because people will not trek to those places. They are mostly farmers that are in these places. So for you to buy fuel stations don't in the lorry or in most of this area, they don't accept POS. They don't even have POS. So you need cash to be able to do that. Now, mostly on the election day, for those rural areas, you need to be able to get them water or something to eat. Well, because they leave their houses early in the morning.
Yeah.
Because some of them, as I said, the distances are long and the roads are not so good. So you have to provide food. So for you to be able to provide food, you need something to be able to provide money to give to them. Because if I'm contested, I'm living in the lorry and somebody is far, like 60, 70 kilometers, it is money that they will use to go and prepare the food they will eat in that particular location, or to buy pure water that they will distribute to them. Those are the challenges. And now the tax crunch will affect the election.
All right, thank you so much. We just wanted to hear what it's like in Kwara State and just know how you're coping, especially because you're a leader in your constituency and people will be asking you a lot of questions. We await. Thank you so much, sir. Senator, let me let you go at this point. But I know...
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
So this is really hard. You see, it's different in the cities compared to other areas that they have to walk kilometers just to get... When you now get to the bank, they're giving me 5,000 naira.
You see, what is even annoying me right now is you have to buy money. I haven't seen a situation where you have to buy your currency. I'm not buying dollars. I'm buying Naira now. 50,000, we buy 40,000 Naira. Is that not inflation?
You buy it at 10,000, so you get 40,000 Naira, right?
So you say it's for the betterment of the people, but the people are not feeling that betterment. Impact. Because how will you, the people who have died, who have lost their loved ones because they can't afford hospital bills, because they can't afford to, there's no money to go and buy water. maybe your loved one needs water, you cannot, there's no water because you don't have Naira. If you take the Naira, you want to change it, they'll tell you.
You know, Mikey, if this happens in other parts of the world, for example, do you know that many organizations, either the banks, the churches, organizations, you buy water. So, for example, maybe a station, anybody, buy water, something basic, have shelter, chairs, let people sit down.
Distribute.
Just to reduce the hardship people are facing. Even if it is free bread and beans. So, for those of you that can do ATMs, go to the market, transfer money, buy lots of food. You know, these are things that organized sector, the organized private sector kind of put together to help alleviate, because we did that during COVID.
But right now, even the organized sector,
They don't get it.
they are suffering. They cannot get money. How will they? Look. You know what started the French Revolution? The king. The people were crying outside. They need bread. They want bread. They want bread. Then he said, I'll let them eat cake. Bam. That was what sparked it off. It's a small thing. That's why, okay, we agree that we don't want these people to attack banks. We agree that we don't want this kind. But it is something that will spark. So the government has to be aware the pulse of the people. You have to feel the pulse of the people.
Yeah.
If you don't feel the pulse of the people, you are going to create the kind of
Chaos.
that we don't want.
Let me take this call from Tai. He's calling from, I think, Maiduguri. Good morning, Tai. Oh, Mina. Good morning, Tai. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, yeah.
Morning.
Firstly, I want to appreciate the effort of the security agencies, the media, and the government so far in respect of what is happening in the country. This is not the best of time for anybody. That's what I finally said. Especially access to money. We need money to buy this. However, the election is here. And it should not be good for anything to happen to the election as regards credibility-wise. But this is, I want to appeal to government to make all the things available so that there will be seamless election and we will be able to move freely on that election day. Finally, I want to commend the police, the civil defense, and other players for their readiness to ensure that we conduct a peaceful election in this country. And now it behoves all the citizens to come up and support the government to conduct the election. But they need money, they need livelihoods that will make them to go out and vote on the election day. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Tai, for joining us.
Yes,
I mean,
I wanted to say the POS people who are still selling Naira, where are they getting the new notes from?
I tell you,
They still have the new notes flowing because anytime you go and buy, for those people who have bought, they have never said there's no new notes available. They must sell. They have to sell. So where are they getting it from? Who are they?
POS has me. I don't know what the POS mean. I don't.
People
don't
have been
have
buying money. People have been buying money. They've been
in
buying.
our area, those ones, they're selling it.
They're selling money. So
like-
where are they getting the stash from? Where are they collecting from?
the one we just saw.
Which
What are
CBN officials or bank officials are still giving them money? They have money.
I'll ask the
If
one
you
you-
want to buy, don't worry, money will appear. Once you say you want to buy now, you see a POS person who will sell to you. So where are they getting the money from? You see, Nigeria, we don't like ourselves in this country. We don't like ourselves.
I'll
Even
ask
if
my
you want to
director.
have a bit of profit. So I don't know how they are getting the money. Maybe they are buying the money themselves, and that's why they're putting so much profit. But if you say, okay, let me even put small money on top, it makes more sense than for you to be collect. Somebody pays 5K to collect 50,000 and 10K for 100,000. Or sometimes for 50,000, you pay 10,000, so you get just 40,000 Naira back. We rip ourselves off and we complain that the government is trying to rip us off. Are we not the government?
Okay, we have to wrap up on this because our guest is here. We're going to be discussing shortly with our guest. But in a nutshell, this hasn't gone away. If you know how our leaders sometimes do things, I just think that maybe it's kind of Nigerians just adjust, to just frizzle off. This is not going away. Nigerians are in pain. They need a reversal, and I hope tomorrow that when the Supreme Court comes out with this, with their own judgments on this, they would ensure that money is thrown back into the system so that Nigerians can have money to use.
That's all.
That's all we're asking.
Just put money.
Give us the
in
200
system.
Naira. We'll manage
Where is
it.
the 200 Naira? So that if you go to the bank, I can collect 10,000 because the cuckoo won't give you more than 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah.